All right, we are live. Well, good morning, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to Make Your Mark. My name is Michael Crabio. I am the Business Development Manager and your host for today. And I'm really excited to bring not only this topic, but also um, this new wonderful tool that Landmark has brought on for our partners, right? For all of our realtor and lender partners. And what really excites me the most is getting the feedback that I'm hearing from all of our clients that um, are in these day-to-day conversations with potential clients, and even like the topic right now is homes that are sitting on the market. And I have the data to prove that. And I know for those of you that are active agents and that are shopping with buyers right now, you see that and you could see the deals that you're able to get for your buyers because of that. And so instead of showing it through the scope of the Cromford report, I know that many know what that is. I wanted to show it to you through a different lens, through our Altos research program. And this is just very brief. I don't want to go too much into detail about this, but Landmark has access to a research program called Altos where we can see based on different cities and zip codes, basically a full detailed report from the price point, average days on market, monthly rent, I mean, you name it. And this is kind of basically the very glimpse of what I want to show you looks like. But you can also access like a full report. This is a Phoenix report that I pulled earlier, and you're able to just see the real-time market profile of what's been going on. And the unique thing about this program is it does update every single Monday like clockwork. And so if you do want to get notified with stuff like this, especially for better preparation for your listing appointments or those conversations that you need to have with your sellers, just reach out to your sales rep or myself if you are working with me or want to work with one of us. Reach out to us and we'll get you connected with this great program. But with that being said, I'm going to jump back to our listings lingering, and it's unlocking the smarter way to price with our new LandmarkONE app. And really the goal for today, the blueprint is understanding that when we're speaking to clients, we're not just talking about numbers, we're really prioritizing on, at least for right now, the conversation that we're having is a tool, right? It's a tool that we can really use to help us stand out in this current market and even in competitive markets. And so the standard here is to confidently guide your sellers through pricing processes and help them understand what the real costs of waiting looks like. That's really ultimately going to determine whether your seller is going to listen to you or not when it comes to pricing the home. And the standard we're aiming for is to have those sellers to be well informed with the numbers so that way they are ready to make the smartest and quickest decision possible, because the longer that the home sits on the market, just the less amount of money that they're going to get in return. And I will show that to you in a little bit here. What the result is, to achieve this, sellers will make informative decisions and are more likely to accept reasonable offers and adjust their price proactively, which means fewer days on market, a smoother selling process, and for all you wonderful agents out there, a commission check. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. And actually, fun fact, like I was telling you just a second ago, that we're getting great feedback. We're getting testimonials. This is a text message that I received from one of our clients this past weekend over Labor Day, giving us a quick shout out on getting a listing. They won a listing because they were able to be very hands-on, transparent with their client on what those hard estimated closing costs looks like. And I jumped on a call with her today, and she was able to tell me that they took my advice. They took my professionalism seriously. There was no friction, and to be honest, that's exactly what we want, right? So for those of you that don't know what LandmarkONE is, it's a net sheet, a buyer net sheet. It's a toolbox that allows you to gives you access to so many different calculators and resources. And this is a newer tool that we brought on over the past, I would say, end of last year or beginning of this year. And what it's ultimately going to do, it's going to save you time. It's really going to impress your clients, and it's going to help you win more business if you utilize it correctly. And the full on purpose of this is to ultimately put you in the position of authority, right? Put you back into the seat where you can confidently guide your clients through whatever scenario or process that you're in with them. And so, why is this important to master this tool? Um, it's ultimately just to educate them, to build more trust, and really to provide clarity. If we could provide the most transparent clarity possible, um, you won't have any issues. I've had conversations with some of our agent partners where sellers won't budge, and I think it's just because they didn't have access to something like this. And when you're able to be very clear on expectations and how you work, like putting this into the system and how you work, it's ultimately going to be super easy to put you back in the driver's seat. And one thing to mention too is with LandmarkONE, we're definitely in this newer phase of real estate still in the past year where we're in post-NAR settlement. And we have to really be able to demonstrate whether we're on the buyer side or the seller side, the value that we truly bring so that we can really be compensated for the value that we think we are, right? If we're wanting to make more than the original 3%, we want to, maybe it's you're listing the home and you want to do that 7%, like this may help you do so. And it's just going to help you prepare with all the negotiations and just really give you that upper hand. And ultimately, it's like what's going to happen? Like right now, we're in a buyer's market where buyers are getting everything that they want, typically. But what happens as a buyer's agent too, when that market shifts, are you going to be prepared? And so right now I'm speaking to both listing agents, buyer's agents, mostly the ones that we work with, they do both sides. But depending on, which tree you fall on, this conversation kind of is for everybody. What can LandmarkONE do? It's going to generate fast buyer seller net sheets. It's going to give you access to 25 different calculators to understand real world client scenarios and just all the different nuanced conversations that you're dealing with on a day to day. And also has great calculators for lenders as well. So for any lenders out there, I think there's one on the call today. This is for you as well. Don't think it's just for the realtors. And also just being able to customize, save time, and send professional reports in seconds. Also creating branded marketing materials as well. And so how are we going to get set up today? I am going to, dang, I was not prepared. I will find the link and send it to everybody out there after this call today if you are interested in signing up. But to make things simplified, reach out to myself or your business development manager, your one of the sales reps here at Landmark, or your escrow officer, and they can definitely help you get all set up on their platform. So that way you can get access to these tools. And just real quick, I just want to touch base on these three things because I get these questions a lot, and I just want you guys to make sure that you understand why we're doing this. And really, why we do this is when you win, we win. And we really are focused on providing as much value, whether it comes from tools or resources that we come across to help you grow your business. And how we ultimately do that is we create a working partnership. And so, if we're providing you these tools and resources, we're hoping that, it's received, but also given back. And the reason why also you would want to do that to begin with is because like the next one, all of our fees and our rates are associated within the app. And so the next question is why does it expire? Well, it's really just to make sure that you're getting the most latest version as possible, because the very unique thing about Landmark One is it's always updating. We're always putting in newer calculators or marketing materials in there, and we just want you to get the best of the best. And then the last question that I get is, but I paid for the premium version. And that's right. If you pay for the premium version, it'll give you access to marketing that is co-branded with your information. But what we give our partners access to is a complimentary buyer net sheets app that's very robust and quick. And we're basically um, giving you all those and paying for it, and you're just paying for the marketing. And really, the premium version is really just a RESPA thing. If we are giving any type of marketing out, it has to come with the cost. And so, if you're wondering, hey, what's that premium, price look like? It's not premium at all. It's $1 a month or 99 cents a month or $99.99 for the year. So chunk change, do I think it's worth it? 100%. And so if when you download the app, or if you have the app and you haven't gotten that premium function, I would just go toggle on it and see if it is worth it for you. And later on in the presentation, you'll be able to see that, because there is something very specific that does need the premium function. And so I had to pull this up. Why am I bringing up show and tell? I remember, like, when I was growing up in school, especially in elementary school, we did a lot of like show and tell. And I feel like there was so much uniqueness and so much attention gravit gravitated toward that person that was presenting to the class. And it goes no difference when you are talking to your clients and really showcasing the importance of what type of net sheet you're running. And so I wanted to pull a little definition from good old ChatGPT to show you how powerful it is for you to get in front of a client and show and tell the amount of power that you can have with Landmark One. So it's important not only to tell people, but even more crucial to show them, because showing creates a more direct, vivid, and persuasive experience, engaging both emotion and understanding in ways that simple explanation cannot. When you show rather than just tell, your audience is able to experience, empathize, and draw their own conclusions, building deeper trust. Trust, that's what we want. Stronger emotion. And that's the thing right there. Emotion definitely gets the best of a buyer or seller when they're going out and showing homes, or when they're seeing an offer come in through the table. We really want to capture that emotion and be able to not capitalize is the word. We want to be able to capitalize on that exact moment. So stronger emotional connection and sustained belief. Okay. So the question is do you have any listings that are sitting, and what is exactly your plan if you do? And so, besides reducing the price, we all know that price is ultimately what sells homes, if it's priced competitively. But there are some alternatives when it comes to that, and there's 7 different alternatives, and we're going to kind of touch 2 right now. But the 7 are: stage it, improve it, a seller rate buy down, a reverse offer strategy. Which, if you don't know what that is, that's just seller and listing agent agree that they're going to throw offers at maybe some buyers or buyer agents. An auction, rent it out, and or taking it off the market, which is probably what we don't want to do, but it's an option. Now, the options I'm going to go over right now are going to be selling versus renting. And the reason why I want to go over this one is some of you may be thinking, well, I don't even want to offer this to my clients. And maybe I understand, but also we have to look at it from a scope of can we provide more solutions, especially if homes, like if we just saw those stats, I mean, there's homes that are sitting way over 100 plus days on the market, and sometimes it just may not be the right time. And so, especially for the homeowners that have purchased back in during COVID, during that 2019, 2020, 2021, they're sitting at a super low rate. So we want to make sure that, maybe we have higher level conversations and we talk to them about renting their home and taking that money and putting it into a investment property. And so helping them navigate that process and starting their real estate portfolio. And just so for those of you that are new here and haven't been on Landmark One, I'm just going to show you this platform real quick and then we'll jump back into it. At the very bottom is our tab section. Buyer net sheets on the left. Right of that is a seller. Middle is all the calculators, 25 plus different calculators that may seem very, very overwhelming. But I encourage you to, if you have it, have access to this, definitely take the time to do so because it's pretty incredible. And then the premium tab is what I was referring to all the marketing. And so this function maybe be taught another time, but we're going to focus on the two calculators that I was referring to. So the sell or net. And just to kind of speed things up here, I'm not going to put in an address, but I highly encourage you to do so. And I will touch base on that a little more later. So we're going to start with just something simple, original purchase price. We're going to do 550 with a loan balance of 450. And with today's listing price, what you think we could list it for at 650. And then let's just say, Mr. Seller or Mr. Owner, you can probably rent your home for about 3,500 bucks. If you click on the assumptions here at the bottom, it's going to show you what a pretty conservative appreciation rate over the years, about 2%. I would most likely leave it there. You can increase the annual rent increase by percentages or by a number or by a dollar amount. It's totally up to you. But it usually will be able to identify if it's a percentage or not. And then operating costs right here. So you can see that toggle between percentage and money. And so that's basically it. And then if we want to change any of the other functions here, we can do so. But just to get things going, we're going to compute this. And this is what it gives us. So 2 years of renting. If you sell today, Mr. Homeowner, you're looking at about $152,000 in your pocket. But if you rent it out for 2 years and then we sell your home in 2 years, you're looking at about 170,000. And so at the bottom here are the functions that are the cost associated with monthly cash flow, right? So obviously we're kind of in the negative, but these are just conversations that you could bring up. And obviously these numbers probably aren't as accurate as it seems, but when you get all those numbers for Mr. Homeowner, you can definitely make sure that they're either getting an appreciated monthly cash flow or maybe they're biting the bullet and they really want to hold on to that investment property and keep it. The operating cost associated with renting, it's really just that expense that a homeowner will be responsible for if anything goes wrong. Maybe that's not ultimately the money that is being thrown at the property, but it's maybe the money that you're saving just in case if something does happen. Okay. And then we have the appreciation. So, 2% rate, we're looking at about $26,000 in appreciation if it's that over the next 2 years. And then the equity after 2 years, it does a nice breakdown. And we can always change the scale. Let's just say, um, 5 years from now, what if you rented your house for 5 years from now and then we could revisit and then sell your home? And then in the meantime, we could go buy another home and start your investment portfolio. So just higher level conversations, and I'm sure you have will be in a situation where a homeowner will want to sell or not sell. A homeowner will want to rent their home, and so this is a calculator that you can play with. And I encourage you to do so because I actually spoke to an agent 2 weeks ago that said, man, you're saving me so much time because I was calculating all these, rent costs, holding costs. We'll get into that in a little bit, all in an Excel spreadsheet, and it was taking me hours to do so. And to be honest, I don't even know if that was really accurate. And so this helps you really find that fair ground. And I want you guys to understand that this app here is a third party that goes out to um, coaching programs like Tom Ferry, and some of the top realtors get to use it before they even launch this to consumers and title companies. And so when we were able to make sure that it was pretty much perfected, that's when Landmark came on board and said, hey, we will take this and we will start providing and servicing it to our clients. Um, Here's a little email script, rent versus sell. And the reason why I just threw this in there is because maybe it's, a way for you to start that engagement with homeowners, right? It's not always about showing them, hey, you should rent your house, but it's really about showing them if it's even a possibility, and maybe having that conversation about maybe it is time to sell and purchase something bigger, or just getting into that deeper conversation about real estate and what their goals are, within the end of the year, within the next year, or whatever that may look like. All right. The rate buy down. Now, love this one because if you've been around in real estate for a while, obviously this term has been used very often in the current market that we've been in for the past year. But if you haven't been around, I mean, rate buy downs were something that was just being has been around and being offered um, like 10, 12 years ago. And there was a lot of agents that didn't really know how to navigate this, right? They'd have to go to their lender, which of course I definitely recommend that. But what happens when you are in a situation where you have your client um, at their highest point emotionally, and you really want to see if you can get a deal done, get a listing, put an offer in, because this calculator itself is not just for a seller, it's also for a buyer. And this is the best way, like to showcase what that buy down looks like. And it's a way for you to also beat the lenders at their own game. That's what these lenders are offering. They're marketing rate buy downs, and it's really just an incentive that they're getting, of course, through big corporations because they have the money to do so. But in essence, all we're doing is just negotiating that through with the seller, right? So let's just, for example, I'm not going to put an address in here yet either, but let's just say we have 550 for the list price. And then on the loan balance, we're going to do 450. And I'm sorry, I am not looking at my chat function if anyone is responding. Buy down type, you can choose what type of buy down that you're trying to talk to your seller doing, or navigating that with your buyer. But let's just do a 2-1 buy down. That's pretty normal right now. Once you hit compute, you're going to see the 2-1 buy down, and coming across, you're going to see what the standard interest rate is, the year one, year two, and then the following 3 through 30 years once that interest rate fully locks in at that 6.5. But you're gonna see what that monthly payment's gonna look like coming across, and then that monthly savings. So, Mr. Buyer, you're gonna save $621 your first year, 318 your second year, and more than likely you can refi, your third year, maybe your fourth year. But these are conversations that I'm sure that you're having as well. And then what does that cost look like for you, Mr. Seller? How much do you have to give to really provide that type of incentive for the buyer to help leverage and bring more, uh, more traction, bring more buyers in? It's going to cost you about 11,200. Okay. That's the summary breakdown, but if we do the compare, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It brings it out really nicely. Sales reduction. So what does it look like, seller, if you reduce the price of the sales, reduce the home price, excuse me, by 11 grand? It's only saving the buyer 82 dollars a month on their mortgage payment compared to the year one, which is 621, and then the year two, which is 318. And so this is what I call leverage right here. This is a great tool for you guys to use to really showcase how powerful a buy down is. And of course, these are just estimates, but that's just where, you get something like this. Your seller or your buyer agrees to those terms, especially if you're on the buy side, then you go show the lender, hey, this is kind of what we're seeing. Can you confirm that these numbers are accurate? Um, and then on the upper right-hand corner, we can actually send a full report for those of you that do pay for the premium function. I'm sorry, I forgot to show this on the last one, but boom, look at that. That is a straight up marketing flyer, marketing piece. You could send an email or post, however you want to showcase this, or more personal, you could print it out and then have it filled out for your clients. And you can always customize it, right? And so that's just one of the unique things about this app and what one of the values that it provides here. Um, and then is there another toggle? What does this toggle do? And then if you shake your phone, it'll actually show you the comparison with another buy down. So you can kind of just play with those functions and then go the total interest paid over the amount of years with this toggle down here. So something that maybe nobody may look at, but oh, it was on a permanent buy down. That's why I was confused. Sorry about that. 3, 2, 1 buy down. You could change it, and then you can also send it just like that. Alrighty. All right, so we're going to step out of the buy down calculator. I'm going to check if there's any questions real quick. Chat. Okay. Does the equity in the sell later option take into account the negative monthly cash flow during that period too? Does the equity in the sell later? So let's go back real quick so that way you can kind of see it. Sorry, I should have checked this a long time ago. Stay with me here, guys. All right. 550, loan balance 450. Monthly rent 3,500. And I forgot to do this earlier, but let's just say this person has a COVID interest rate of 2.75%. All right. So this is what the breakdown looks like again on the seller, on the sell versus rent. So on the sell side, it's not going to really give you any type of numbers associated, right? Because you're going for the sell now. So that's what that cash today looks like. And if you toggle on these little arrows, it'll actually break down more of all the different numbers from balance, taxes, and closing costs. And if you click there, you can actually get a more detailed um, description on what all those closing costs would look like. And then same thing with the renting. Um, you're going to go ahead and get what, mortgage payment, operating costs, appreciation, and everything over time. So It does, but I think it's just really important the way that you present it to the client. Um, yeah, that's what I would say about that. But let's go ahead and move on with the next calculator, which is crazy that this calculator is even available because I think that there's nothing like this out there. And if you go ask another agent or a top producer how they calculate holding costs for a house that's just sitting, I promise you that many will probably not have an answer to that. And so you should feel very good right now knowing that now you actually have a tool that can do that. And it's really just ultimately going to help you deal with those tough conversations that you're going to have in the future because they're bound to happen, right? So we're going to go ahead and jump to that. And this is where I will showcase the uh, address feature, which, like I said earlier, I highly recommend that you put in the address because this Landmark One is connected to a server called HomeLink, and HomeLink is connected to the county records. So when you pull the address, you're going to see an estimated annual property tax, and it should check it, but you're just going to make sure you click on it, hit next, and like I said, HomeLink's connected to the county records where it's able to pull the type of loans that are found on that property and what was recorded. And so I actually found this address today on Zillow, and there are 3 loans on this property. And I did confirm with one of my escrow officers because I was very questionable about this third one. But it was just an extra loan that they ended up pulling. I think maybe some money issues or whatever, but we're going to go ahead and just click on all 3 of these. And another reason why you want to click on the address, sorry, I'm delaying this real quick. 3 weeks ago, I had a listing agent, um, not a listing agent. I had an agent that got a listing reach out to me. They went into escrow, but I had showed them the app, and so she had ran a seller net sheet. And when she did so, she actually found a second lien on the property that the seller was not aware of. And so when she had brought it up to the seller, um, she had no idea, and she was really in shock to find out later throughout the transaction that that lien was actually there. And so you, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, this kind of gives you an advantage to maybe especially when you're trying to get a listing to get ahead of the curve or get ahead of the game, so that way you can be well prepared for whatever type of issues that come in. And I can't promise you it'll always be like that, but I just wanted to share a scenario that I came across that I think is great for you guys to hear. Um, and then it's also going to showcase the interest rate, right? So down below it says the average interest rate was 4.04. So we're going to type that in. Um, and then obviously you saw, oh, and then it's going to say, hey, this is the estimated loan balance for this property. Next. And then you all saw that there was 3 different loans. So we're just going to make sure that we put all these in. And I know this is kind of like not every property is going to have this, but just a worst case scenario here. 6.94. So this is for the third loan, and then estimated loan balance of 2,700. All right, so we got all that in. For this specific property on Zillow, it says it's going to go for 37.5. And then um, when it comes to this calculator, okay, I'm going to break this down real quick. 375 is the price, seller interest rate. These are all just based on from the previous loan amounts. Property taxes don't have to touch, insurance don't have to touch, closing date you shouldn't have to touch. HOA is $85. And since this is a holding cost calculator, I highly recommend that you reach out to maybe this is preparation for a listing, or maybe this is, like I said, a listing that's been sitting on the market for a while. Excuse me, and we really want to calculate those holding costs, right? And you really want to showcase it to the seller. You really want to get this data from them if you can, but if not, uh, just put in some respectable numbers here. So let's just say, you know, uh, 400 for electricity, maybe about 75 for gas. Cox pay or charges me crazy amount for internet. 160 water. Let's do 120. Um, you could throw in some maintenance costs on the house. And honestly, I would highly recommend you do this because you are trying to showcase that holding costs. The more you put in, the better you'll have a better conversation with your clients, trust me. And then, hey, let's just say I don't think this house has a pool, but let's just say, hey, this house has a pool, another 250. I honestly don't know how much a pool costs, so just for your for your insight. Add custom expense, and then you can also add a custom expense if you'd like. Assumptions, if you want to change, uh, who's paying for what commission, you can also change right here who's paying for the compensation. We'll just keep it at seller. And then if you want to throw in a concession, you can definitely do that. But right now we'll just compute this. And this is what that holding cost um, result looks like. So priced at 375, if we sit on the market for 3 months, you're looking at about close to 7 grand in holding costs for if the home sits on the market for that long compared to 12 months. So we said about right now it is about 3 months, right? Typically or more. So I would say for this current market, we're about here, but no harm, no foul. I mean, there's times where houses will sit for a long time. I came across a few agents over the past month that have had listings for a very, very long time. And so this is where this type of calculator would make such huge of a difference. And we could click get different reports on the different types of months that we have. And then we can also show it within the price, right? And so hey, if we price at 381, and you want to net, this specific amount, we're gonna have to price it here. And if we wait 12 months, we're gonna have to price it at 402, and that's probably not gonna happen. And what these percentages are, excuse me, are appreciation on the home. And so we're not going to get, that's 1.85% is usually an annual or close to an annual appreciation. We're not going to get there in 3 months to 3.7. And so that just gives, seller some perspective on what that market really looks like. And if we want to break it down into a flyer, we can also do so just like this. Okay. I'm going to go to the questions real quick. All right. And the last calculator, which is to me going to definitely be the new standard to what you should have for your listing presentations, is going to be the TruValue Analysis. And um, I think it's so good that not only should you be getting like an Altos report on current markets for that specific listing, but including this, I think it's really a closing tool. Like if you are having a hard time getting a listing, I think this truly shows everything that you need to in um, your listing presentation. And so we're going to throw in the address. Bear with me because we're going to have to deal with all this different loans here. But we have a 4.4% interest rate on the primary loan, estimated loan balance at 1600, and then so yeah, 16. And then we have for the second loan 2.915%. Estimated loan balance at 17,000. And then for the third, we have a 6.94, and that's like a 2,700. There we go. All right. So this is how it would roll when you are presenting this. You think when you're presenting it to your seller, for this property, we saw that on Zillow. It was listed at 375, which is the market price. The low end for us to stay competitive, for us to sell the fastest and to get the results that we want to sell at the low end or price at the low end to get a price at market list price. So we're going to put 350. And then the high end, that's, the hard conversation where maybe seller thinks my home is worth 400 plus $1,000. And you're going to have those conversations, but that's the great part about this calculator is you could input those numbers and have it break it all down. All this is the interest rates and the loans that I just put in. Like I said, this is not normal, but for now it is. And then holding costs. So the great thing about the TruValue analysis is it's going to basically take what was in that holding cost calculator and implement this in your listing presentation as well. And so let's just go ahead and throw all these numbers in one more time. And these are just random numbers, so don't think I know exactly what I'm putting in. And then once we compute, okay, it's going to show, it's going to break down for the low, market, and high end based on the sales price that we gived it, and then based on the months to close. And the great thing about this portion is you can toggle, you know, these, you could toggle this from months to close. And so with the market, in the middle for the current market list price, we said it was about 3 to 4 months, so we can change that and we could change the high end to maybe about 9. But that just shows, what the closing costs are associated, what type of foot traffic you're going to have for the property and what price you listed at, and the holding costs associated, the beautiful category that we really want to prioritize on is the holding cost and what comes with that, the net to close, and how much, you're going to be leaving out on the table if you don't just get the home sold. Okay. And then reductions. And so this is the kicker, right? Like sellers may think, oh, well, I can wait, 9 months and get almost $30,000 more. But this is where this feature, the reductions, plays a huge part because when we're talking about reducing the purchase price by percentages, I mean, we're seeing prices drop from 5 and almost 10%, and it plays a huge difference in the conversations that you're going to have and how you can showcase it. So 0% reduction on the low end, 187 to pocket, and then you have 5% reduction, which is about 18,750, and you're still close to what we originally wanted to net, but you took all that time and you had lost probably about 6 grand, right? This is how you would technically read it to your client. And then 10% reduction, about $40,000 with 176,000. And so that is the power of this calculator. And what the biggest feature here is, for you to get access to this app, you do need to pay for the premium, but this is what I'm talking about on the listing presentation. If you click TVA report, you're going to get a super well detailed, basically listing presentation that you can bring to the table right when, I mean, before you even talk to the seller. You could come in, showcase your value without even having a conversation with them. Of course, like I said, I would definitely try to get the information on holding costs because it does uh, help you prepare a little bit more, but you can always throw estimates and then maybe redo this a little bit later. But this is just a showcase of what okay, so let me start over. So this is the title, understanding the timing on the market, and then just a brief market snapshot on national data and local data. So when you are paying for premium, you're paying for the research that we have to pull and the app has to pull to get all that data. And so it breaks it down very nicely right here. Hey, the average list price is about 480, new listings at 482, average days on market 115, and we definitely want to be below that, right? We want to sell as quickly as possible, and then all the price reductions 50%, right? How do we stay out of that 50%? It's by showcasing your value through the TruValue analysis. Um, Breakdown of kind of what we just saw on the calculator portion, and then it's going to actually give you that sell net sheet that you would just get normally on the basic seller net sheet calculator. And so this is the beautiful part about this calculator. It does it all for you, and it makes it look nice and clean, and it's just a nice addition for your listing appointments, or if you need to kind of do a new analysis on a listing that you have and you need to present something to the seller. I would highly recommend that you pull something like this. It'll definitely go a long way. Um, but with that being said, those are the four calculators. So we went over the sell to rent, we went over the holding cost, the buy down, and then the true value analysis. And the challenge that I want to leave to you is go talk to someone, whether it's your client that has a listing or just a someone in conversation this week that is in the real estate process of buying or selling, and use some of these calculators. Of course, I recommend kind of going with the calculators that we just went over today, but just get a feel and see how the conversation shifts and see how your client responds to some of the numbers and the things that you're showcasing to them. And the second thing is reach out to your business development manager, reach out to one of the sales reps that you are working with or you want to work with to get signed up and get access to LandmarkONE. I would encourage you guys to schedule a one-on-one with them if you feel lost and don't know like how to navigate through the app. I would say the app is pretty friendly, but there are some very cool functions and things that you could definitely be leaving out on the table if you don't speak to your business development manager. And with that being said, I mean, to top, the presentation off, I would just say that with all that I had to say, I think we can all agree that the more clear you are, the more deals and more listings and more more families you're going to help. You're going to win. And so agents that bring that clarity or lenders that bring that clarity, they're going to get that trust and it's going to be reciprocated, right? You're going to have that authority that you want, that true professionalism. And just remember that listings are leverage in this business from when it comes to a marketing standpoint to getting buyers and sellers. Use it and make sure that you capitalize it. And I would say this just to kind of add a little funk is if you get a client that lists their home and they sell um, with a few days on market, or they get offers immediately because you taught them how to price accordingly in a tough market. I would definitely market it. I would promote it. And if you need help with that, reach out to myself or to your business development manager. We have great tools, resources that we can definitely help you and execute on. And with that being said, send us your next escrows, or if you want to work with us, reach out to us. We truly appreciate you. And thank you for jumping on today's Make Your Mark. I hope you continue to make your mark with Landmark, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.